Continuing our lessons on the recitation and interpretation of the Qur'an of Imam al-Ghazali. We started it yesterday. And before we start, we're just going to be reading the dhikr of Ramadan. The Prophet said when Ramadan comes in, a person should do four things. One is testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seek the forgiveness of Allah, and ask for Jannah and protection from the fire. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله نستغفر الله نسألك الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله نستغفر الله نسألك الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله نستغفر الله نسألك الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. The third chapter, Imam Ghazali talks about the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ's companions and other pious Muslims in early Islam on the excellence of the Qur'an. Yesterday we spoke about the Hadith, which mentioned the excellence of the recitation of the Qur'an. Abu Umama al-Bahili anhu said, read the Quran and let not these suspended mushafs deceive you at all, for Allah will not punish a soul which has contained the Quran by memorizing it, pondering over it and acting in accordance with it. Meaning the Quran was meant to be recited and acted upon and not just to be kept on the shelf. Ibn Mas'ud anhu said, when you intend to acquire knowledge, deeply study the Quran, for in it lies the principles of knowledge of the ancients and the moderns, ilm al-awwali wal-akhiri. And this is the essence for which the Quran was revealed, to ponder and to extract knowledge and information. Yesterday we spoke about the yardstick with which we measure our own thoughts, our own worldviews, our own paradigms, everything that we are faced with in life. The way we look at life is our yardstick, the Quran. Many times we find that our own life is a stance with regards to what the Quran and the Prophet has revealed, is because we don't actually make the Quran our source of information. And Imam Ghazali, in one of his other books called The Jewels of the Quran, he talks about people who spend their entire life, even though they might be reading the Quran with understanding, but they merely only just touch the surface. There are deeper meanings and secrets toward the Quran, which the person only gets if they ponder and they recite the Quran with the intention, as we mentioned yesterday, of seeking the countenance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also to try and delve into the ocean of the Quran. And there would be scholars that would read the Quran just for the sake of reading, a form of ibadah and worship. And so they have a khatam on a monthly basis in this regard. And then they would have another form of reading the Quran in salah, in which they would ponder over the Quran. One of them would say, it's been 15 years and I still haven't even gotten beyond the 10th juz, because they read every verse and they don't go on to the next verse until they feel they've actually drunk their cup from that verse. Ibn Mas'ud also said, read the Quran, for you will be rewarded at the rate of 10 good deeds for reading every letter of the Quran. Take notice, and this is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. I do not say that alif, lam, mim constitute one letter, rather I say that alif is one letter, lam is another, and mim is another. Again, the recitation of the Quran with or without meaning has its reward. We should never disparage the recitation of the Quran without understanding. And nor should we disparage the recitation of the Quran with understanding. We find two groups of people. Some say, you're not supposed to read the Quran with understanding. It's there for ibadah and worship. And other groups say, no, it's there for ibadah, it's there for understanding. And those that are just making khatams upon khatams, is no good in it. The Quran is such that whether you read it with understanding or without understanding, there is reward in it. And every person has a different level. Some people don't have a mental capacity or capability to be able to ponder and understand. And they find connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in just reading the Quran in Arabic, even without understanding. We have to leave them, and they have their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other people might not find that they're connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except if they apply some mental capabilities and faculties, trying to understand the meaning, trying to delve into the deeper meanings. These people also have their way of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should never disparage either group. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, he says, I once saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a dream. And I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is the greatest deed that a human being can do? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied and said, it is the recitation of the Qur'an. And he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with understanding, without understanding. And Allah said, with understanding and without understanding. He further said, none of you will ask about himself to anyone except the Qur'an. If he loves it and admires it, this is a sign he loves Allah and His Messenger. If, however, he hates the Qur'an, if he hates the Qur'an, this is a proof that he hates Allah and he hates the Messenger of Allah. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May Allah protect us from this. We need to just ask ourselves, what is our relationship with the Qur'an? Your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is translated into your relationship with the Qur'an. The amount of time you spend with it also is a translation of your relationship with Allah. The amount that you're able to take from it also is a translation of your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amr ibn al-As said, every verse of the Qur'an is like a stair of paradise and a lamp in your houses. In every verse that a person recites, they ought to be gaining closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And reading the Qur'an, if a person really has to apply themselves, every day is a new day. Every day ought to be a new, we find people, they do different forms of activities. We go for holiday, every day they go, or every year they go to a new place. Or now in today's times, every day they want to watch a new video or a new movie or a new series. They need something new all the time. The Quran ought to be like that with us. Every day we go to it, we ought to get something new. And what we take today has to be different than what we take from the day before. But this is only if we go with that intention of connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He also said, a man who reads the Quran thereby includes prophethood between the two sides of his body. However, no revelation of the revealed to him. This is also hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. That a person who reads, and this hadith says a person who memorizes the Quran, he includes prophethood between his two sides, meaning he has prophethood in his chest, but no revelation will be revealed to him. The very, very high station of the one who memorizes the Quran. Because what was prophecy after all? Prophecy after all was the Quran. Abu Hurairah said, surely the house in which the Quran is recited provides easy circumstances for its people. Its good increases. Angels come to it in order to listen to the Quran, and Satan leaves it. The house in which the book of Allah is not recited provides difficult circumstances for its people. Its good decreases, angels leave it, and Satan's come to it. Many, many times when people complain about problems in their families, between husbands and wives, spouses, parents, children, whatever the problems might be, constriction of rizq, business problems, social problems, families, many, many times you'll find that these people are lacking in some of the fundamentals of their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, either their salah. So for example, people find it strange, the child will come, the parents will bring the child to the sheikh and say, he's gone off the path and this and that, and they ask the parents, are you reading salah? And the parents are like, what does our salah have to do with the child? But that's the essence of the problem. If the parents are not on salah, then obviously the children are not going to be rightly guided. And so the way, like they say, there's an Arabic saying, حُرِمَ الْوُصُولِ بِتَضْيِيعِهُمُ الْأُصُولِ. People are prevented from reaching their spiritual goals because they have lost sight of the foundations. The foundations of Islam, the foundations of our relationship with Allah, our salah, our Quran, our dhikr, our salutations of the Prophet ﷺ, our fair dealings, all these things need to be in place. And generally, if these are in place, we'll see everything goes according to the best of what we expect. But if there's problems in our life, no problem happens in the life of any Muslim except that is a reflection of something of their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of the pious would say that I recall my mistakes by my riding mount that slips. He was on his horse or his donkey or his camel, and his camel slipped and he almost fell off. He says, immediately I recall something that I did wrong. And so sometimes also, you're walking and you knock your knee, or Allah forbid a person meets up in an accident or something bad happens. These are all reminders from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rectify things with regards to our relationship with Him. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, okay, here's the hadith. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahmatullah ta'ala, said, I saw Allah in my dream and asked Him, Lord, how have those who have drawn near to you achieved this nearness? Allah replied, by my speech, O Ahmad. Ahmad said, I inquired, Lord, by understanding your speech or without understanding? And Allah replied, by understanding as well as without understanding. Muhammad ibn Ka'b al-Qurazi said, when the people hear the Quran from Allah on the day of resurrection, they will feel as if they have never heard it before. On the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call all the Huffaz and ask them to recite the Quran. And each one will recite the Quran. It will be said to them, recite the Quran now as you used to recite it in the dunya. Meaning, if you are rattling off here, you'll be rattling it off there. If you didn't recite it here and you forgot, you'll be forgetting there. And the hadith also says, Iqra warqa, that recite and continue to raise in elevation with every single verse of the Quran. And the highest levels will be reached by the recitation of the Quran. All the Hufad will be asked to recite the Quran. And each one will recite it individually. And then the Sahaba and the awliya and then the Sahaba. And then it is said that the Prophet ﷺ will recite the Quran. And some narrations mention that he will recite Surah Taha. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself will recite the Quran. Some narrations say he will recite Surah Ar-Rahman. And when Allah recites the Quran on the day of Qiyamah, people will feel as though they have never ever heard the Quran being recited before. It will be something completely new for them. And this happens sometimes if you listen to the Quran being recited with meaning. And this is the beauty of the Quran. We're reading it all over every day with meaning. But because of certain circumstances in our lives, when we hear certain verses, we knew the verse before, but because of certain circumstances which we are going through, it feels as though this verse never actually had the same meaning for us. And this happened to the Sahaba when the Prophet ﷺ passed away. They used to recite the Quran all the time. And how many they would make khatams every week and every month. But when the Prophet ﷺ passed away and they were all in a frenzy, and Sayyidina Umar even believed or thought that the Prophet ﷺ hadn't actually passed away, he had just gone to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like Musa alayhi salam, and he would return. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr came and he recited, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ رُسُلٌ. The Sahaba say it was as if it was the first time we were hearing that verse. And this is the beauty of the Quran, that if things have happened to you from today till tomorrow, when you recite the Quran, those meanings according to what has happened for you for that day will have a different meaning. And obviously, if a person is in a very, very intense striving to gain closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Quran, then these meanings actually open up. Allah says, I am as my servant thinks about me. So if you come to the Quran believing that Allah is going to give me it, then you will receive. But if you come to the Quran thinking, we're just doing our duty, then you're not going to get much. You have to come to the Quran expecting with certainty that I'm coming to the word of Allah. And Imam Ghazali will speak further on about the etiquette and the adab. They say the secret of the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ta'aleem, extolling and exalting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you recite the Quran, is to spend those few seconds or those few moments and just imagining whose word is this. Some of the Sahaba would recite the Quran and they'd faint. And they'd say, Hada kalam Rabbi, this is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the essence of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ta'aleem. And so likewise, the essence of our relationship with our salah, with our fasting, with the Quran, with the zakah is ta'aleem, is to extol these obligatory actions which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made incumbent upon us. And if we come to these actions with certainty and yaqeen that by doing this, I'm getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can make as many intentions as you like. According to the intentions that you make and according to what you come to the Quran with, the Quran is then going to give you. Sufyan al-Thawri, Al-Fudayl bin Iyad, rahmatullah ta'ala alayhi, said, a man holding the Quran by committing it to memory and by acting in accordance with it should have no need of anyone, not even the Khalifs and the political subordinates. Rather, the needs of people should be directed towards him. And Imam al-Haddad would say, لا يكون المريد مريدا حتى يجد في القرآن كل ما يريد. A person will never truly be a spiritual aspirant and a wayfarer in the spiritual path until they find in the Quran everything that they need. Sayyidina Ali would say that if I lost my shoelace, I would have found it in the Quran. And we need to understand the meaning. Sayyidina Ali would say that if I had to write just the meanings and the interpretation or the exegesis of Surah Al-Fatiha, I would fill 70 camel loads. And so we have to know that there is things in the Quran which are beyond the ordinary. And when we try to tap into that according to the purity of our heart, Allah will then opened it up for us. So Fudayl bin Iyad is saying a person who has memorized the Quran, is acting upon it, they people should then be coming to this person. And you don't need to go to other people. Sometimes, for example, we're talking people have depression, or they're having some sort of psychological, not psychological, just social. Sometimes you feel, you know what, I need company, I need to go have a cup of coffee with people. How many times do you think, let me just pick up the Quran, and this relationship with the Quran is not going to happen overnight. The way our relationship with the Quran is it's taklif. We open it up and we read it, but it's difficult on the nafs. The same thing with presence of heart in salah. But how do we overcome that? Is you have to push the nafs, push the nafs, push the nafs. And you push the nafs so that taklif then becomes ta'lif. It moves from being difficult into something that you are comfortable with. And anything, today even they'll tell you anything that you want to change in your life, you do it for 30 days. And the spiritual masters will say 40 days. Practice just for 40 days to do something, and what was difficult now actually becomes easy. Have the set time of the day where you're going to read the Quran. Don't think of reading a whole juz. We're talking out in Ramadan, alhamdulillah, people's himma is bigger. Say just one page every day at 10 o'clock, or every day at a certain time. I'm just going to read one page with complete concentration. And just read one page and close the Quran. But make sure that you training the nafs every single day doing it at this particular time. And you won't go through 2 weeks unless that you start connecting, if your intention was to connect. He also said a man bearing the Quran is in effect bearing the standard of Islam. So magnifying his duty towards the Quran, he should not make unlawful amusement with one who makes unlawful amusement. He should not be unmindful of his duties with the one who is unmindful. And he should not utter nonsense to one who utters nonsense. Rather, he should pardon them and forgive them. Meaning, if you are someone who wants to connect the Quran, you have to find intimacy with the Quran. You can't find intimacy with people. And we always tell the students who are memorizing the Quran that, and this is something we would hear from our teachers, if you want to have a relationship with the Quran, if you want to memorize the Quran, and if you want to learn the Quran, then the Quran is your friend, and people are not your friends. And if you find comfort in being with people more than in being with the Quran, then this is a sign of bankruptcy. Sufyan al-Thawri said, when a man reads the Quran seeking the pleasure of Allah, the angels who arrive to listen to it kiss him between his eyes, paying respect to him and to the Quran he has recited. They say the recitation of the Quran is the ghidha, is the nourishment of the angels. When a person recites the Quran, some narrations say the angels actually come kissing between the eyes, and they put their mouth over your mouth when you recite the Quran. And the nur of the recitation of the Quran, the angels actually receive their nourishment through this. And this is why the angels disliked, why the Prophet also disliked that foul smells should come forth from a person. And he prevented and he forbade those that had eaten onions or garlic to come to the masjid. Because they are not just disturbing the people who are around them, but the angels as well. The angels, there's certain narrations that mention that the most disturbing things to the angels is a person who recites the Quran, but there are still particles of food in between their teeth. And so a person needs to, even before they come for every salah, clean their teeth and floss their teeth as well. That is why the miswak needs to be used before every salah. Sometimes we just use the miswak for barakah, but it also means cleaning your mouth. In today's times, it will mean brush your teeth before every salah. So people obviously who smoke, the angels are not coming close. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us. Amr bin Maymun said, if a man on performing the dawn prayer opens the Mus'haf and reads from it 100 verses, Allah raises this good deed and the good deeds of all the people of the world. And the time after Fajr Salah is one of the best times to recite the Quran. From the time after Fajr till sunrise is one of the best times to recite the Quran in Ramadan and out of Ramadan. It's a very, very special time. In the Ramadan, the Prophet said that every evening and every morning at sunrise and at sunset, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets free souls from the hellfire. Some narrations say 600,000, and some narrations say 6 million souls from the fire. And so the Mashayikh will say that when you are awake at that time, when the souls are being set free, your name could be in those souls being set free. But you have to be awake and be making dua. And it means, inshallah, that a person will never then enter the fire. Many people attain this, or they might be awake at the time of at the time of sunset, because everyone's got the samosa in their hand or the date in their hand at the time of sunset. And there's actually a time of dua. Today we heard even in the khutbah, the Imam was mentioning very nicely that this is the most important time of dua. When just 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the adhan, and when the adhan actually goes. When the adhan goes, you don't have to, you break your fast with a date in water, but then make dua immediately after it. And then you can actually eat the rest of the food that you need to eat. But many people, what they lose out on is the utaqam in the nar is being saved from the fire or being set free at the time of sunrise. Very few people in Ramadan are awake during the time of sunrise because they up for suhoor, they read fajr and then they go to sleep. But to actually be awake at that time is very, very rare. We'll read the last narration for today. It is narrated that Khalid bin Uqba came to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ and entreated, "Read to me some of the verses of the Qur'an." The Prophet ﷺ read, "Surely Allah enjoins justice, beneficence, and giving to kinsmen, and forbids indecency, wrong conduct, and transgression. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون." He admonishes you such that you may take heed. Khalid entreated, "Repeat the recitation." The Prophet ﷺ repeated. Khalid then said, "I swear it is sweet and elegant. Its lower part is putting forth leaves and its upper part is bearing fruits. It is not the speech of any human being." Basically, he mentioned a certain phrase in Arabic, meaning that when he heard these verses of the Quran, and because they were Arabs and they were very eloquent, when they heard the Quran, they automatically knew that this was not the speech of any human being. They were masters of the Arabic language. They used to read poetry up into, or they memorized poetry into the thousands and thousands of verses. But when they heard the Quran, they realized this was something very special. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to connect with the Quran and to spend time with the Quran wholeheartedly for His sake, and to make this Ramadan one of the most blessed Ramadans, and that every night, every tarawih, every salah, and every minute that goes by means of us getting closer to Him. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. So